The next section is to discuss best practice, and we hope there that we will demonstrate and explain best practice in employment and in training from both the larger and smaller employees, how to develop a skills training, recruitment and retention strategy, how to make your company and the industry look attractive to school kids, training as an investment, that's the word for it. We've got 3 speakers. Unfortunately, Andrew Stevenson from DFS has been called away, but Caroline Gascoigne has stood in manly at the last minute. Thank you very much for that. Carl Patterson and Richard Miller. If I can ask the 3 of them to come and sit up here. First, we have Caroline Gascoigne. She is the National Qualifications Manager for DFS, having been with the company since 1999, so she's quite an experience of DFS, and is very appropriate to our subject. DFS invests in its employees' talent from the moment they join, and they believe both in technical training and qualification through doing a good job. DFS has won the Youth Employment category in the European Awards for the Apprenticeship Programme, so they know a thing or two about apprenticeship. Caroline, the floor is yours.
Hello everyone. At DFS we do most of our training around 4 basic principles, which is engagement, making sure all of our staff are engaged with the training that we provide, showing a clear leadership with that, and making sure everything's customer centric, and keeping things simple. And they're the behaviours that kind of we look for in people, but also promote through our training policy that we have. And to us, training kind of our education policy is based around the 3 sections you'll see there. We recruit people because of their attitude and their motivation. What we need to work with them is developing the skills and knowledge to be able to do the job for us. And kind of how do we do that, especially when we're now owned by a private equity company? And a lot of people have asked how's that affected us in the last 5 years. Well, for the last 5 years, year on year, we've increased our investment in the training we provide to our existing workforce and bringing new people through. And it's when you have a large company that we do, so over 100 stores, 5 factories spread throughout the UK, in the Republic of Ireland, in the Netherlands, and now in Spain. How do you make sure that the training you provide is consistent all of the way through? So that's where we introduced accreditations. So all of the training that we provide to our people is recognised by external bodies. So all of our sales training on the retail side of the business is endorsed by the Institute of Sales Management and Marketing. Our administration training that we have in stores is accredited by the Institute of Customer Service. And our management training, because they're ultimately the guys that need to make sure everything happens underneath them, is endorsed or validated by the Chartered Management Institute. And we make sure we have the same kind of principles throughout all of our business. And that's how we've pushed that across into our succession planning as well. And we started by looking at, kind of what our workforce is. And we had an ageing workforce around an area, what we employ called service managers. So they're the people that go out to someone's home if something goes wrong with the furniture. And we employ about 185 of those. 25 of them are due for retirement in the next 5 years. It's not a trade that people are going into, like we saw earlier. And those that do come from a factory background, so particularly in the south, we really struggle to find people in that role. So that's what we designed our first apprenticeship scheme around. And last year we employed 11 apprentices on a 2-year training programme. So we've worked with a college, they do block release training there, and we do bespoke training courses within DFS with them as well. They work alongside a service manager in store, so it's really hands-on. They've picked the job up far quicker than we ever expected them to. 3 of the 11 are now in a position where we can offer them a permanent position within our business a year earlier than expected. So we're kind of really pleased with how they're doing. And to keep people engaged, and how do we attract young people onto our apprenticeship programs? Well, we've included the Duke of Edinburgh Gold Award in every single one of our apprenticeship programs. We had one of the apprentices last night that gave a speech at St James's Palace to the Duke of Edinburgh himself. He's back there again this morning, giving a speech to people who've gone to collect their awards. So kind of the further skills that they're developing through doing that as well is helping us, that's very transferable into our business. On the back of the success of that first apprenticeship programme, we've just launched an apprenticeship programme in our stores, a retail apprenticeship programme, because to have a future generation of salespeople coming through. But we see them not just as future salespeople, but future managers. So within their 2-year programme, they will spend time in the office so they know the mechanics that go behind an order after it's been placed. They'll spend time out on our delivery vans so they can see what happens when we install the furniture into a customer's home. They'll spend time in the warehouse so they know what happens, how it's unloaded off the van, how it's checked, and time with our service managers as well, because we see these youngsters as our future manager population in 5 to 10 years' time, so that they can grow even further with us. We've also just launched apprenticeship schemes in our factories. So we've taken on 11 upholstery and sewing apprentices. They'll be learning both skills of the job. So originally we were looking at people for an upholstery apprenticeship and a sewing apprenticeship. We struggled to get people on the sewing side. So what we've done is combined the two. So the whole 11 will be trained on both sewing and upholstery. So at the end of their 2-year programme, they'll be able to decide what route they want to take, but at least they'll have both skill sets. And we're currently recruiting for our second batch of service manager apprentices and looking at other areas in the business where we can start to take the programme through. We've started to engage with some local schools. I got roped into going and giving a talk to a bunch of 14-year-olds a couple of weeks ago at my niece's school. But none of them had kind of knew much about DFS apart from the fact we sold sofas. So kind of I think it is important now for us as a business to try and approach more schools in different regions, so they just start to kind of find out a bit more about us, as well as more about the furniture industry as well. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.